Welcome to After the 80. I'm your host, Terry Pascoe, and on today's show, we'll take a look at round 16 results, catch up with Rikki-Lee Arnold from the Courier Mail and Frazer, Pearce and Peter Lynch from the Morning Bulletin, and take a look at this week's round 17 clash of the Intrust Super Cup. Now, joining me on the panel today, as per usual, is Anthony Bomber Breeze. Welcome.
Good to be here again. Like we said, we've seen some great results on the weekend. Some teams move up the ladder and down the ladder, so it's very tight now.
Yeah, there's been a bit of movement in the competition, but like you said, we'll have a look at that in a second. Now, if you'd like to join the discussion, you can find us on Facebook. Just search Phoenix Media Hub, like the page, and leave your comments below. Now, let's take a look at the results from the weekend. Round 16 all completed. They're very close, probably bar one result, which was Redcliffe Wynnum game, which is 50-18, which, well, like I said, I'll talk about it later, but even though it was a bit of a hiding, it actually proves a bit of a difference in the competition ladder. Yeah,
well, obviously it does. If you look through all of them there, we've got some close results there. The Ipswich Jets going down by 2, South going down by 2, and the Blackhawks by 3 there, so very tight.
Yeah, the Pride taking on the Blackhawks up in Atherton, and it was proved to be a very important game and knocking off the ladder leaders. And also good to see Central Queensland Capras get a win. I guess Kim Williams, they had to wait till Kim Williams was had resigned to get a win.
Yeah, well, obviously it was the battle. Obviously the two teams down the bottom there. Obviously their positions probably don't belie their ability and what they have done this year. But obviously one team had to win, and obviously it was the Kim Williams Central Queensland Capras that got the chocolates.
Well, that's right. Now let's have a look at the Northern Pride and Townsville Blackhawks game. Again, like I said, it was a close affair, and you could see that Jake Clifford's field goal was the one that proved the difference. But what do you think?
Well, obviously it was two of the top teams in the competition, so we would have expected a good game, and that's obviously what we did get, a good game there. The first half there was probably where all the action was. The second half obviously got into more defensive with only one try in the second half, but the Jake Clifford field goal in the 76th minute got them across the line, and that's the Pride's 5th win in a row now.
Yeah, that's right. And it was one of those ones that this is one of the games where I like that they still take out to the country. Like, country round is coming up in round 19, but this was played at Atherton, and it was good that it was taken to the locals out there.
Well, obviously up there they've got a big, vast area of supporters. It's not like down here in Brisbane there, where obviously all the Brisbane supporters there. Up there they have a lot of supporters from a lot of the different outback towns, so it's good to look after. It's probably not the best field goal you've ever seen either, is it? But it's only got to go over by a centimetre, doesn't it?
That's right. Now, at that point, it was 10-all, so that was 11-10. I guess the result probably favoured Pride a little bit more in the end because this penalty goal. And to me, it was a blatant penalty as well. There's not much the referee could do there when they were slowing down the ruck. But this is the 5th win in a row for the Pride, so it really showing they've got a bit of momentum behind them, and Ty Williams is really going well with it.
Well, obviously this time of the year, that's when you want the momentum, don't you? Leading into the finals there, where we're in the back end of the season now, so you want the momentum, you want the form now, and obviously 5 wins in a row shows that they are one of the form sides. So.
All right, well, what was the game that took your interest?
I was out at the Ipswich Jets game and the East Tigers game. It was a battle where either team could move up and down the ladder there, so both teams really had to win there. The Jets had their Indigenous jerseys on. It was battled as probably the two of the better fullbacks in the league, and Drinkwater and Purcell there. And this is Billy Walters there. He caught him napping there from the halfway line. They scored 2 tries where the Jets went to sleep. That's Billy Walters scoring the first one there. But that's it. They got over the line. They got away to a big break. The Jets did come back, but unfortunately it wasn't enough.
Well, that's what you said. That wasn't the only time. We've got this try here, but there's one questions probably on that pass as well. But the next try, I believe, was Scott Drinkwater, and it was the same thing. It was the East got the penalty, and they switched off.
I think they just naturally think they're going to kick for touch, and he caught him napping there. This is Purcell. He can give him an inch there. He scored 3 tries on that day, and he was just electric. So,
well, that's right. And here's what I was talking about it here. And look, they're all just sort of looking at the referee, wondering what's going on, and they just waltz in for a try. Now, that just proves, even not just at a Queensland Cup level, but a local level, that you got to play the referee's whistle. Don't turn around and blow up, because with the quick tap these days, teams will run over you.
Oh, well, obviously we have got some smart footballers out there, and obviously that's what they do there. They look at the little chinks in the armour, the little one percenters there, and they caught the Jets napping twice, and obviously in the end that won them the game. So.
It was, and look, it also, this is another game, and I know I harp on it a little bit, but it's one of those games where the conversions are very vital. East could have won this a little bit more convincingly, but they missed a couple of conversions, and it proves that you really do need a full-time goal kicker with a good percentage as well to be kicking your goals. Could have almost cost East the game. Yeah,
well, like I said, Origin was probably the same thing there. It's hard. It's hard if you haven't got a goal kicker who is a genuine goal kicker. Most people can kick. They're part-time goal kickers, but these days you see a lot of teams score the same amount of tries, but it's the goal kicks, obviously, that do win games. And like I said, East probably could have put this to bed a lot earlier.
And that's right. Look, and this game was built to be the game of the fullbacks, of the best fullbacks. And you'd almost say that Michael Purcell really won this, even in a losing side. He scored a triple. His speed is just impeccable. It shouldn't be too much longer before he's playing first grade.
Yeah, well, he was obviously talked about for residence there, and then he got injured. So unfortunately he missed out this year. He's 2 or 3 games back now after injury, and obviously he's back to his blistering form, but Drinkwater also had a brilliant game as well. So.
That footage was courtesy of the QRL media. If you'd like to see all the highlights and interviews from the weekend, please head to qrl.com.au. Joining us from the Courier Mail headquarters is the busiest rugby league reporter in the state, Rikki-Lee Arnold. Thank you for joining us.
No worries, Terry. Good to be back.
Now, round 16 has just finished. Some surprise results. What are your thoughts of the weekend?
I thought it was aside maybe from the Redcliffe Wynnum game, a lot of close results, a lot of interesting finishes. I think the match that was probably the most exciting of the round was the Northern Pride's 13-10 win over Townsville. I will claim some credit there. I did tip that one, but it was definitely still an upset victory. But I think it really shows, just how legitimate Northern Pride are this year. They are sitting quite comfortably in that top 6 at the moment, and I think that win, more than maybe some of their others, really cements, their standing in this competition at the moment.
Yeah, no, I'm sure also Cameron Cullen's very pleased that the hoodoo of me going to Dolphin Oval and them winning is over now that they've got that big win over Wynnum. Now, it looks like the Falcons and Jets finals chances are starting to slip away. What do you think?
I actually don't think it's too late for particularly the Jets. I think Jets and not the Jets, for the Falcons. I don't think it's too late for the Falcons. Jets maybe a little bit on their for and against. I know they're all on the same points there, just sitting under that top 7. But that's what's going to make it even harder for the Jets. I think you've got Sunshine Coast, East, PNG, and Ipswich all sitting, I believe, in that same bracket there. I think Sunshine Coast are the ones who could look actually the strongest to make a last-minute run. It also just depends on what's happening in that top 6. I mean, obviously, Tweed lost to Burleigh on the weekend. South Logan lost as well, but North's got another win. So I think, it is going to be, which it always is in an Intrust Super Cup. But there's something about the Sunshine Coast where I just think Trigger, I think he's really found some consistency there with that young team. It's a new team, it's a young team, but his experience as coach is going to be really key moving forward over the back end of the season.
Yeah, and surprisingly, like you said, Burleigh getting away with the win up against the Tweedhead Seagulls. But I guess the form continues. Like they've moved back up to first, and that was also with the help of the Pride beating Townsville. But their form continues even with terrible injury news with Blake Leary and Jamal Fogarty still a week or 2 away.
Yeah, it was some big losses for them, and then it continues to be, I guess, those 2 guys. But I think last year, they went through a similar thing, but even worse. They had, Pat Polatoni was out, Jamal wasn't there. They'd also just lost Cameron Cullen, and it was a whole new team, injuries across the board. So maybe I think what we might be seeing at the moment is all those guys who got a run last year during that injury period and maybe didn't do as well last year, now have that experience to help this team move forward. And I think it was great to see them come out and make such a big statement, especially in the little Gold Coast derby. And Tween aren't easy beats anymore either, so it was definitely a really big statement. I don't know whether they'll be able to continue that momentum, but as you said, hopefully Leary and Fogarty are not too far away, and they can continue that push to win the minor premiership.
Yeah, no, well, I've heard rumours that Blake Leary was 8 weeks out. Fogarty, well, obviously it's just his ankle and hopefully only be a couple of more weeks, but we'll see how that goes. Now, what are some of the stories that we could see in tomorrow's Courier Mail?
Yeah, so tomorrow's Courier Mail we'll be doing the East Indigenous jersey reveal. So that will be in tomorrow's paper, as well as all the latest Origin news and some previews ahead of the Queensland derby this week between the Broncos and the Titans.
Yeah, no, and when you speak of the Indigenous jerseys, good to see that Redcliffe, all the home teams were doing it, but Redcliffe Dolphins also had theirs, and it was quite remarkable, actually. It's quite nice art.
Yeah, they can be really beautiful jerseys. So I think we're going to have Jake Foster in the East Tigers kit tomorrow, so that one will be really nice as well. And a little bit of a backstory into what Jake Foster does within the Indigenous community as well. So make sure you pick up the paper.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time, Rikki-Lee.
No worries, thank you.
Now let's take a look at the Intrust Super Cup competition ladder after round 16. Now there has been some big movements here with the, Northern Pride defeating Townsville Blackhawks. That takes them from first to third is a bit of a drop. But what I was mentioning before is that Redcliffe, that huge victory, puts them 4 points difference in the point, the differential, and leaps them over Townsville.
Yeah, well, obviously, as you can see, we've probably got 4 teams there now that probably look likely they might be the top 4, but then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, we've got about 7 teams battling for them 4 positions there. So everyone's vital now, isn't it?
That's right. And just to reiterate, because I know a few times in the show that we have said it as a top 8, it's actually a top 6 in the Intrust Super Cup. So that makes it even tighter, because you look at all those teams that are, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, they're so close. East Tigers are just there with Tweed. And if we look over, as what Rikki-Lee was saying, it's still possible that the Falcons can still move up. They're only in 9th, but they're also equal with PNG and Ipswich.
Yeah, well, like I said before, Ipswich are on 16. The team that's in 5th and 6th are only on 18. So like I said, seven teams battling for them last 2 positions. So every win now is vital. Obviously, the Jets are down there with the worst percentage. So obviously they've got to improve that. And I suppose by winning, it does improve, doesn't it?
News in the last couple of weeks in Rockhampton with the resignation of Central Queensland Capra's coach Kim Williams. Joining us from the Morning Bulletin is editor Frazer Pearce and Peter Lynch. Gents, how's the news been received in the club?
I think it's a bit of a shock, to tell you the truth, but everyone's quickly come to terms with it, and yeah, great result last week. But I know Kim will be sorely missed. It's been one of those seasons for us this year. We're just very close in about how many games, Pete? Probably 4 or 5 really tight games. Yeah, a couple of big calls against us. So it could have been a much different result. But good game last week, and they played really well. Probably the one of the most complete performances this year. Yeah,
like you said, it was also a good return for the crowd favourite Billy Gilbert, but there is some injury concerns around Dave Taylor as he didn't finish the game.
Yeah, Dave off with a calf strain the 50th minute, a precautionary measure more than anything. But so at this stage, they expected to play this week out of Barcaldine against South Logan. So that'll be another good test to see if they can hold that form. But Dave's expected to play, so we'll know more actually this morning, because he would have trained last night. So we'll see, and then final decision tonight for to leave on Friday for Barkey.
All right. Now there's been a lot of speculation around the renovation of Brown Park to a 12,000 boutique seat stadium. What's the latest you guys heard?
Yeah, well, things are moving rapidly there. There's the feasibility study's underway. The agency carrying it out's been holding a lot of stakeholder meetings over the last 2 weeks, really talking to a lot of people and painting the picture and getting the feel about what people are looking for. And but it's this study, I look at what's feasible given budgets, etc., and the ground and what can we actually do with that ground. But there's a lot of there's still some people who would like to see it go on Hewish Drive, close to the riverbank, closer to the showgrounds, and a little bit closer to the CBD. But that would be a more expensive proposition, I think. But this one, I think it's got legs in that I've been talking to a few people, and it seems to be, this is a fair income, $150,000 feasibility study. And it's got the support of a lot of politicians and local government. So I think we might get a result here.
Well, I think it's very, from what I understand, I've been around Park a couple of times myself. It's got a very similar setup to Dolphin Oval, or now Dolphin Stadium. They've just had their renovation, so they're done two grandstands on each side, which stage 2 was just completed over the weekend and opened. I guess, is that sort of the push for Brown Park to have something like that very similar?
Yeah, I think so. At the end of the day, I think on where the actual grandstand is at the moment, as you probably appreciate if you've been to Brown Park, what they're going to do is make that longer. And then, well, this is the plan, I believe. They're going to make it longer and actually push it over the Murray Street a little bit more, like the Gabba goes over Stanley or Bolter Street. So it's going to actually make that grandstand a hell of a lot bigger than what it is now. So,
all right, gents. Well, what can we see in the Morning Bulletin in the coming days?
Oh, well, we'll be more on the Capras, mate, and we hope we can. It's a really good chance to play some of the top teams the next few weeks, so we can test the form because we feel this has been an unlucky team this year. So I'm sure they're determined to come home with a wet sail. So and Bar Calden will be a real test for the visitors too.
And can I say this too? That this year in particular, I believe that in the past they haven't done very well at all, but this year they've excelled quite a bit with regards to close games. And at one stage there, we actually had beaten 3 of the top 4 on the ladder. So when I was talking to Ben and Shane Walker one day when they were playing up here from Ipswich, and Ben was saying to me, or Shane was saying to me, he said, "Oh, he hates coming here, because Anyway, we ended up beating them that night. So, it was unfortunate that Kim's on his way because the way it's working, I think he's sort of gelled the team a lot better. And at the end of the day too, we haven't really got that strong structure of feeder clubs that feed into our club, because we're year on different people, so it's very hard to set that structure up. But anyway,
I guess you can't ever underestimate the Capras, especially at home. I think they're dynamite. I guess from my view, that them playing away has been their biggest problem. The inclusion of Kim Williams as a coach was a great signing, and he's done a lot. But I guess this is where your next coach, or the Capras' next coach, is really going to be pivotal about what they, where this club goes. Because you're right, last few years, Capras always been like the easy beats, like, we're playing the Capras, we'll be fine. But this year in particular, it has been close. It's very much like Canberra Raiders, I guess. It's been those just not being able to finish and just get over the line.
But in saying that too, and everybody says it at the game, they all say, wouldn't it be great to have a feeder club? And we struggle because of that. Because I think you will see the other clubs that actually are playing and they have the feeder club, they have a consistent team year in, year out, if you know what I mean, with not as many changes as what we do. We every year we've got to go and draw players from all different areas. So that's the drama. I think is consistency because we don't play at the same team over a period of years.
Yeah, no, I'm sure Trigger will probably, the Sunshine Coast coach will probably disagree with you a little bit with stability.
Oh, yeah, good point, good point.
All right, gents, got to go. Thank you very much for your time.
Good on you. Thank you.
Let's have a look at the upcoming games of the Intrust Super Cup this weekend. Round 17 about to kick off. A few interesting clashes, a few must-win games as well, Bomber.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, the Jets must win that one there. They're playing the bottom team, so that's a must-win for them. But Burleigh on top of the ladder, obviously, but Dragon North, no easy beats, and probably the Black Hawk, Sunny Coast there. Like we said, Sunny Coast need winning too.
This is, it's a real test to the Falcons' character going up to Townsville. They have to win and beat Townsville in Townsville. And I guess this shows if they could do that, then they will be genuine competition hopefuls.
Yeah, well, like we said, we've got 4 up there. We need to add 2 more teams to that list, and obviously the Sunny Coast are a team, and they're probably one of the favoured ones that will get that other position. But obviously that Redcliffe game, PNG need to keep winning, and Redcliffe obviously down on troops this week with few of their players up for the Broncos.
It's probably not the worst thing. Redcliffe, or any team that goes to PNG struggles to win. That's been the case since the competition's been in play, or since PNG's been in the competition. So I guess for them to lose in this particular instance, I don't think it's a bad thing because it was always going to be a struggle for them to win. Look, I hope they win, but PNG need the win. No. Redcliffe don't have their back line because they're all playing for the Broncos. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, well, it obviously gives that next group that are just under a chance now, which maybe if Broncos get a few injuries through the origin period this last game, well, they may have to stay there for the rest of the year.
All right. Now, what's the game that's piqued your interest this week?
There's a few games there. Obviously, the Townsville. We just spoke before the Townsville game. Obviously, that's going to be a big game there, and Sunshine Coast need to win as well. And I think that's a clash of the round myself.
And look, one of my favourite games of the year is this weekend. Tweed up against Wynnum. Now, this is played at the Ron Stark Oval. This is on Stradbroke Island, so this is a really good feat. I've loved the fact that Wynnum have taken their games there for the last few years, so let's see how this game goes.
Well, it's obviously the Channel 9 game, so I'm sure they'll get some great footage up there, so you probably get up there early and have a bit of a bite, bit of a fish or something there, and
go for a surf.
And then head off to the game. So
and it's good to see another Friday night fixture as well with Mackay and Ipswich, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I went to the last one there where the Jets played PNG there. I think a Friday night every now and again wouldn't be a bad. You could probably get a crowd because nobody else is playing around in the Intrust Cup, so yeah, it'll be good, I reckon.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. Now, Bomber, thank you very much for your hard work.
No, it's good to be here again, and it's good to get out there and watch some more action this week.
All right, and a big thank you to Rikki-Lee Arnold, Frazer, Pearce, and also Peter Lynch. If you'd like to keep up to date with this show, make sure you head to our Facebook page, Phoenix Media Hub. I'm Terry Pascoe. See you next week.